bythjul.com. Däck och fälgar online direkt hem till din dörr eller närmaste verkstad. Car models that I fancy the most are big sedans and big coupés. But this one from Mercedes, the new CLE 300, it's a mid-sized luxury coupé. But still, it takes over from that old C-Class coupé and the E-Class coupé. So it's bang in the middle there, and it has become a little bigger than the C-Class. So it's a bit more roomy, it becomes a bit more of a GT car. And it's good that they still have this one. It looks just elegant. I like this one. It's a Manufaktur Alpine Grey, solid, great looking front on this one. It's got that shark nose, the bulgy bonnet on top. It almost feels like it's got a V8 under it. We will see what that CLE 63 AMG will provide. I think it will be that 2-liter 4-cylinder engine with the hybrid system. So this one, CLE 300, you get 258 horsepower. It does 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 6.2 seconds and a top speed of 250 kilometers an hour. That makes it for a rather fast Autobahn cruiser. Rear wheel steering means that you get out of tight spaces a little easier. And this 2-liter 4-cylinder engine might not feel like it really suits a car of this kind. And when you drive slowly and it starts to work, you can feel that there is momentum. It is strong. It is strong off the line because of this 48-volt mild hybrid system, which punches out 23 extra horsepower and some more torques. So it doesn't feel like it needs to struggle. And you don't want that in a car like this. This should feel personalized, luxurious. It is really refurbished and refined in here. It really feels like it. I can't get away from the fact this is so beautiful. This Nappa leather, the white and the black, it just suits this car so well, especially these seats. They are just a joy to look at. Beautiful. And of course, to line up with that, you need some power. And this one, it sure has. 258 horsepower, sleek lines, and this personal feeling of, grand tourer. So sometimes when popping up in a car like this that has the lines, that has the looks, people might ask, what is that? Is a V8 in it or something like that? But no, we have a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that packs 258 horsepower. But that is not bad. Downsizing is not bad. I like downsizing somewhat, but when driving calmly like this, it feels very refined. It is subtle, and you don't really miss the air suspension on this one. It is adaptable, this normal suspension, and it works really well. And it is quiet in here. The cabin is well stuffed, and that is one of the most important things when you're driving a luxury coupe. The only sound that I've noticed that is a bit annoying is when there's some gravel and some stone that is being tumbled around the wheels. You can hear that sound gets transported into the cabin, and that's a bit unpleasant. But apart from that, it's just splendid in here. So you can push it some if you want, and of course you would get rather thrilled because it handles well. But it's not like a BMW 4 Series Coupe that has an edge in that driving sharpness. And I don't know if Mercedes deliberately has created this type of driving style, but to get some extra oomph out of the driving sensation, I think you need to go for CLE 53 AMG or the 63 AMG when that comes, of course. These cars are supposed to be GT cruisers. They should take you for long journeys, in comfort, in luxury, maybe just the two of you, but if you got younger kids, they can sit in the back. And this back seat is a lot better. Talking about fancying these type of cars, what I also fancy is a real door handle. Thank you so much for that. So this is the AMG line. It's got a bit more of that AMG style to it, and of course a lot more equipment on this one. So base price for it is 690,900 Swedish crowns. This one costs 1,011,200 Swedish crowns. Competitors like the BMW 4 Series Coupe and the Audi A5 Coupe, the good sharp cars to drive. This one has a bit more of a luxury feel over it, you know, more cruise, more comfort. It's well refined, it's very quiet, but it is a bit longer, a little longer wheelbase. That's good because you want a coupe to look a bit more stretched, a bit more long. That's what gives it that little extra luxury feel. They shouldn't be too cramped. The previous C-Class, well, that felt a bit too small to my liking, even though I thought that looked good as well. The back on this car, I really like how it looks. It swoops down, it's almost like a leaned angle on it. The only thing that I don't like is this connected rear light, you know, that ramp back there. But that should harmonize with the rest of the lineup, the electric lineup. But I think they should cut that off on this one. It would look a bit more relaxed. And you got 4MATIC four-wheel drive on this one, and also rear wheel steering, so that's good. You turn around better, and you always feel that when you drive. It's like, whoa, it turns in very quickly, so you need to retake it. But when you learn it, it's just very effective and nice. There is also a diesel version, and you can get a 450 with a lot more horsepower, but the power in this one is just enough, and having a light little 2-liter 4-cylinder engine makes it a little better when turning in by not having a bigger V6 or a V8 engine. So I like this downsizing, but when it's on idle, maybe it doesn't sound that very exotic. But when you push it a bit more, well, then it's okay. There is adaptively damped suspension on this one, but there is no air suspension. But it feels rather soft to drive. And you don't really mind that it's no air suspension because it is rather smooth, this car. But we have some snow on the ground today, and this 4MATIC four-wheel drive system works just flawless. Turned off the ESP, drove it a bit harder, and it's just there. It grips so well. And we get into sport. But it takes a little time to spool up, but this is just enough. I mean, you can reach a speed of 250 kilometers an hour. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour is dealt with in 6.3 seconds. I mean, that is just more than enough for a car like this. Steering is just great with this rear wheel steering. It steers in quick, and when you drive slowly and in a calm manner, it's always there. It's more when you drive actively that rear wheel steering is so effective that it throws you in very quick into a corner that you need to, whoops, do it again. So you need to gradually learn where that effectiveness lies. That is always fun to learn if you want to drive a bit more active, because it turns the car in very well. Does its job when you're in the manual mode. You can put it into sport mode if you want to have it a bit more sporty. You get the revs here, you get the speed, you get some emphasized red looking cluster. So let's just see. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour. And when you push it a bit more, then it gives some growl from that engine. So that's why downsizing works sometimes. You know, 2-liter 4-cylinder engine provides you with some go, but it is not rocket ship fast. This 9-speed gearbox, well, it's quick enough. Now we're in some consecutive corners here, and you can feel that it is a little lean to it. It's more aimed towards a cruiser style. It's not as sharp as a 4 Series Coupé. That has the edge a little. But be effective with this car, you need to be in the right gear to push it out all the way. But it is refined, it feels great, and I think that the comfort level in this one is really there. Together with how the design looks, you're just amused every time you step into this car, especially with this beautiful white leather. Love just pulling that simple handle to open the door and step in. And stepping into a Mercedes, you're always welcome with this exclusive, nice design feeling. And exclusive, I think it feels really exclusive. You might argue a little that it's a little plastic, but what cars aren't a bit plastic? So, in here, well, what is this? Well, it's not wood, it's some artificial stuff, but at the same time it looks very elegant. The dash is high, you sit low in a very sporty way, which I always like. So you get this great feeling of sitting in a hardcore GT car almost. Cocooned, but at the same time very roomy in here, especially when you get the window to let in some light. And I love colors, bright colors. I love white colors on leather. Some black and white Nappa leather, that is just great. And the seats, they just look good to look at. And they express that much when they are dressed in this color. The headrests are also exclusively made for this CLE. They look really, really good. You can push them back or out so you get some support. Really nice. The steering wheel in AMG manner, it's big and thick. You get good grip, a bit too thick for my liking, but been driving a lot of these now, and they give you good control. Paddles here, if you want to shift manually. Divided screens, they don't melt together like in some other models, but I like it. The vents here, they are picked from the C-Class, but I think they look better than those turbine-looking ones in the EQS and all these electric cars. You know, great feeling, the Burmeister system that you get in this car. Very easy to open, and sure, they are still a bit tough, these buttons for the seats, but be very gentle and they will work straight away. Touch on the steering columns here. I think the sensitivity in them are good, and when you get around it, you know how they work. A bit plastic here, of course, again with this one. I don't know why you just have some other hard looking plastic or something, but it's always the same with this glossy piano looking plastic. It should always lift the feeling of being luxurious, but that one could have skipped that. Otherwise, Nappa leather and all that is really good. I think it's rather good button feel, and it feels like it's a bit better put together. It doesn't squeak like it did a couple of years ago when they introduced this new feeling. So it's well put together. So the seats, they are comfortable, they're good. You get ventilation, you get heated seats, and you can set them in so many positions. And I get straight into a very good position in this car. I like that a lot. If we get to this new system here, because it feels new, they have updated this one. It's a lot quicker now. And it's very simple to maneuver. It has been better packed. Big symbols here on the home menu screen. You get comfort, then you get into comfort. Very easy to get back. You got info about your car, the engine, settings, all these settings. And it's quick. The processor has been updated in here because it's super rapid and sharp now. You can connect your phone, you know, your units. You can get into YouTube. You can just stand still when you watch that, of course, for safety reasons. There's a lot of apps. There's Mercedes Me, that's store and apps. It's been packed together in a more smart way. Make it smarter, make it more efficient, make it easier for the driver. And they really have. But I like how quick it is now. It's never been sluggish before, but now it's on a different level. It's very quick. And what I also like is that you just push this car button down here on this little panel, and you can easily unclick the speed warning, your lane assist, if you want to get into manual gear shifting, which you can do, head-up display. Great. They're all big, these symbols here. And the voice recognition and voice command is much better as well. And you can also set the different look of the cluster here, from sporty to classic to eco. You can set your map and a lot of other things, but everything is very easy to maneuver there. And in the glove compartment here, you got a little scent bottle that is inserted. So that gives you a good scent throughout the cabin in the ventilation system. So this car is equipped with the Premium Line Plus package, and that is 95,500 Swedish crowns extra. And in there you get panoramic roof, you got head-up display, Burmeister 3D surround system, and there's also speakers integrated into the headrest, so you get a better 3D surround experience. The MBUX augmented reality, parking package with 360 degrees, camera system, and a lot more. Pull that little strap, and then you get in. And now I'm sitting behind myself. You know, this is actually not that bad. The seats are carved out. You can stick your feet under. Now sit very low in my driver's position, so that will be a bit difficult to put my feet under there. I got big boots as well. But 175 centimeters tall, and still got some space. Sure, they're upright like they mostly are in a coupe, but you got ISOFIX here, some pockets, very smart. Put some stuff in. You got two cup holders here, Burmeister system, Very elegant with the Nappa leather in black and white, so it still looks elegant, and the light gets let in by that window, but not bad. And they're rather wide, the seats back here, and they're comfy. They are comfy. So much roomier than the C-Class coupe. And if you want to step out, well, just pull that, and of course you need to bend and then get out, but not that hard. The seats, they keep you well in place. At the same time, they're made for long journeys, for GT cruising. When it comes to the sporty driving, they keep you in place. You don't fall out of them at all. They're soft in the sides, they're soft in the center, and the bottom. They're just great. I love these seats. Let's get into Classic again, and then you can set everything you want here. You got your board computer, you can see how much consumption you have. You can switch everything, and it's quick. The graphic is on top. One of the best graphics I've seen. So that really puts it on top of what a Mercedes should be. Very exquisite. You sit low and the dash is high. It's almost like you're in those GT cars, you know, in a fighter pilot cockpit. And also that bonnet that has those two almost like fins on it that bulges up. I like that. Feels much sportier than it might be, but it gives some sense of I'm driving a big coupe. So why not emphasize that? That's just great. It's the feeling that you get, and the personal feeling of driving a coupe. Well, this is how it should feel. You're the one that should get spoiled. So why not do that? Even though it hasn't got the biggest engine or something like that. You don't need that. Just cruise. Feel all this luxury and refinement. That's more than enough. The 9-speed auto gearbox is just there. You can feel it. It works so well in all these different modes, and it's quick enough when you drive it in dynamic or in sport mode. And I think it's very brave and honorable of Mercedes keeping coupes. They have been very good at it during the years. They've cut down on them, of course, but this one sits rather well in the middle. It's not too small and it's not too big, even though a big coupe, bigger the better, makes something extra of it. So they will keep their GT coupes and maybe pop up some other model later on. But this one is a very good successor to the C-Class and the E-Class. Sits just perfect in the middle, and I wouldn't ask for anything more. I think the lines are just perfect. The exterior looks great. And of course, I'm really looking forward to a more sporty one to feel that extra type of AMG dynamic drive and power, because I really like the plug-in version in the C63 AMG. I love that downsizing. It was just so effective. Bit heavy, and of course, if this gets the same treatment, this will be a lot heavier, but that power was great. Great to have a small engine, keeping it light. It's under 1,800 kilos, so it's still rather heavy, but it's not unmanageable. It's not 2 tons plus, because that's when it starts to get heavy. And of course, with this power in a 16 or 1,500 kilo car, it would be even better. But technology, safety, and all of that, it weighs. So it's very good. Keep these coupe models, because the design is great and it is some luxury treatment getting you one. It is a bit more of a niche market, the coupes, because nowadays you want big cars, you want SUVs, they dominate the market, and everything should be electric. So I think this is a very good compromise between sportiness, comfort, and a car that is predictable. If you know that you want a coupe, you want to treat yourself with some luxuries and a bit more personalized feeling, because it is a bit more personal having a coupe compared to a sedan, a bigger car like a SUV or something of that kind, because it's mostly you and one other person that will go on the long journeys or will be commuting in it. And if you have kids, well, then of course you will be having a bigger car. So that's why it gets a bit more personalized, and I like that. And the performance of this one is just enough.